Hello, everybody. Alright, if you don't know me, my name is Rox, and today we're going to be looking at something a little different. It is the death battle between Deku and Asta. Now, this is looking at it. I'm trying my best, to not look at it through the lens of power scaling, because I do think that they got several things wrong, which not necessarily the outcome, like the winner, but just how they scaled those two. Anyway, now moving into it, if we're going to talk about this, we got to talk about the analysis. Now, the analysis was actually pretty good for both characters. I was a little bit surprised that they went as far as they did. Like, they straight up showed things from, like, I think one of the most recent chapters at, from My Hero. Like, actually one of the most recent. Like, they showed shift gear, which I don't know. I'll talk about this a little bit after I also talk about Asta. But speaking of Asta, they included pretty much everything with him up to, well, the current state of the manga, except for certain things. So it makes me wonder how good their research was. So it 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 was a little bit questionable. Now, there were definitely problems with it. I would say it is one of the weaker of this season, but that's not necessarily me complaining about it. That's just me saying, oh, you know, as a My Hero and Black Clover fan, I love both actually. So seeing those two fight was obviously interesting. Granted, I don't know. These could have been good character traits and good interactions between the two, but you can even see here that Deku and Asta were not the best opponents for each other because they didn't really have much to interact. Now, it's hard to say, something is definitely wrong, but when something gives its own internal logic, then it is kind of sketchy. For example, right here, right here, they bring up how Asta scales to Salamander and one of the previous guys. I forget what his name is. Basically, the evil elf wizard, from that one arc where they all started reincarnating as people. Yes, that one. Thank you. Thank you for remembering it. Now, I don't really think that is very good because, A, Asta is not implied to scale to him whatsoever. Like, at all. Why? Well, because that guy faced off against the Wizard King and had kind of a back and forth dynamic. And then granted, this could be a stronger version of the Wizard King, but even if you highball it and say this stronger version of the Wizard King, scales to Asta, or no, because that version literally one shot Asta, like one shot him. Like he got hit so bad he entered another country, and is having a training arc. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's not at the same level as the Wizard King. They also scaled him to a country, which, then again, I also don't agree with. But hey, that is their own logic. But then, like certain things. Like, for example, they do obviously give greater calculations to Asta about overwhelming power, but they do mention Midoriya has a better arsenal. Now, I don't know. It's hard to say. Granted, another feat that seems to be a little weird is the dodging light speed in his sleep. Like, I don't know. That's just very sketchy to me because it's a gag. You know? Like Midoriya, he also dodged light speed in his first arc. You know? So what what is the point here? Like that kind of, I don't know, that feels almost like an invalidation cuz Midoriya was able to react to lasers shot from Aoyama, who, believe it or not, lasers are light speed. And then they talk about how Shigaraki catching lasers is like some crazy feat, considering literally most of the cast interacts with Aoyama. And they also interact with Mirio, and while they weren't necessarily able to keep up, Mirio is not the same level as All Might or Midoriya, who is getting pretty close to that. And he uses a glitch in the literal laws of all of reality. And it's just one of those things where, you scaled Asta by using this. Like, they scaled him by a sneeze. And while I get it, haha funny joke, it's not something that I think Death Battle, because they have the title, they're the ones making this. They're the ones setting themselves up. They are the ones who are like, oh, this is, we did the research, we did this, we did that, so you can trust us with, your favorite characters fighting. Because, frankly, when you see death battles like this, where you know the characters, it makes you question the other ones. Like the most recent one, Sauron versus the Lich King. I don't know that much about either. So it makes me question and wonder, hey, are they right about the others? Because they weren't right. They didn't scale this one properly. And this isn't even me being like, ooh, Asta should have lost. I remember saying in the prediction that Asta would need to overpower Midoriya in order to beat him, because he's not getting around his arsenal. He would need a substantial amount of power. But the way they did it is by not highballing Midoriya and giving Asta feats that aren't his own. Because, like, yeah, you can scale, if you want to scale Asta to Salamander, then that makes sense, actually, because Asta later on, at the end of the anime, by the way, so I'm not getting into manga spoilers, he fought alongside Yami and was able to keep pace with him. So that should imply that he is around the same level as Yami. Yami was able to beat some of the special rank wizards, like not the captains, but those group of phonies, like the group that Salamander is part of. He was able to, well, not beat, but he was able to hold them off and fight them for an extended period of time. So you can scale Asta to that. But what I have a problem with is the fact that they scaled Asta to a feat for the Wizard King. But Asta hasn't shown to be on the same level as the Wizard King. Ever. Like, ever. I'm talking about the manga, too. Like, no. That didn't happen. So, I'm not trying to debunk this. I'm really not. Because, granted, I don't know too much about Asta. I did expect him to be Lightspeed. But then again, my hero characters have been Lightspeed from the very beginning. Like, I'm sorry, Aoyama's lasers are lasers. That's how they work. And then, on top of that, should we scale Midoriya to, who is it? Stars and Stripes then? Like, that, the problem is, I have a problem with the way they scaled it, not necessarily the outcome that they got from it. Because, like, Asta Asta should be stronger than Salamander now, and Salamander can, like, lift the entire ocean in a data book. That was even stated in the death battle. So here we have. You know, something that is clearly insane, and it should trump all of Midoriya's feats. Except, okay, but they went with the even higher feat, which is the Wizard King feat. Oh, well, if you want to go with that, then Midoriya should scale to Stars and Stripes. Stars and Stripes was able to manipulate the atmosphere and create something so massive that it was able to stand up in the ocean. And it hit Shigaraki, who was weaker, or not really. You can argue that he's weaker now, but hey, I mean, I guess you can scale anything to anyone, right? This isn't like that it honestly doesn't feel like Deku versus Asta. This feels more like My Hero versus Black Clover, because you're taking feats that Asta does not have, and then you're taking half feats from Midoriya's end and jamming them together. And it's just this big hodgepodge of unnecessary feats that, honestly, their analysis was not that good. Which sucks because, like, okay, back in Season 2, an analysis like this would be acceptable. Why? Because the fight was so crazy and so fun. This was not. I'm sorry. I have to use this as a translation into the fight. Asta's sprite is not bad. I actually like how emotive it is, and I do like that he actually has some bulk to him, because believe it or not, Asta, despite being a midget, I'm joking, he's not actually a midget, but he is quite small, but he has some bulk to him, because that's his character design. And then you get to the Midoriya sprite. Oh my goodness, I do not like this sprite, and it is not great. It's just... It's just jank. It's janky. And string bean like, and everything. Like, you guys remember Madara versus Aizen, right? You remember the beginning of that? It's almost as bad as that, but for the entire fight. Like, now, obviously there were actually some good hand-drawn bits for it at the end, which I actually really did like. But then again, they also had Midoriya break his arms, even though that's not something that happens in current day My Hero, because he's mastered One for All. Well, not mastered it, but he's learned to... He's used it to such a... Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's just... This entire episode is just bang, bad point, bang, bad point, bang, bad point. Like, the analysis was actually pretty good. I liked it. It had good editing, all that jazz. But then you get to the fight, bang, janky, bang, not good, bang, kind of inconsistent with what they present. And then you get to the analysis and everything just kind of drops because of the way they scale it. And this isn't me saying that, oh, Midoriya should have won. Look, that feat that Salamander has should put him above Midoriya very clearly. But they didn't scale it that way. They scaled it through a back door rather than putting it front. Because guess what? Most people believe that Asta is stronger than Salamander. Most people believe that because that's kind of implied by the narrative. By him fighting a character who is stronger than Salamander, or fighting beside a character who is stronger than Salamander and being able to keep pace with him. But instead, they go with this backdoor Wizard King calc that he has no scaling to. Like, by that logic, shouldn't All Might have scaling? Like, Midoriya should have used All Might scaling. And if we really want to go there, well, they scaled All Might to Might Guy. So, by that logic, Midoriya should scale to Might Guy. So then Might Guy should scale to Asta. Like, what? Like, it's this unrepenting just mishmash of an inconsistent analysis. And I know people are probably mad about this. Granted, I'm gonna say it, I don't give a shit about how Midoriya lost. I do not care. That did not piss me off. What pissed me off was how they explain it. And yeah, I was pissed off because I like Midoriya, but I also like Asta. And this isn't even a win for Asta. This is a win for the fucking Wizard King. Like, what? Bro, why didn't they put Asta against the Wizard King then, huh? If that was what they were going to use as a metric for why he gets to win. Like, in Overwatch, if I were power scaling Overwatch, oh, well, Tracer can, like, I saw Doomfist can knock down a skyscraper with his punch, and Reinhardt can completely destroy buildings by charging through them, so I'm sure Tracer has building level attack potency. Like, what? What? No, that's not how it works. There has to be direct evidence. Or, if not direct evidence, statements or implied. Like, oh, her pulse bomb can destroy a large building. There we go. That's actual scaling. If that were in a data book, then boom, that's good. Not this. Because they scale Asta off of someone who's stronger. By that logic, shouldn't Prime All Might be on the table? Like, no, he shouldn't. He never should be, because we have no quantifiable percentage between It doesn't say that, oh, Midoriya is 55% weaker than Prime All Might. And no. Use actual feats. And if they're scaling, like, yes, okay, Midoriya should have all of Ida's feats, because Midoriya was shown to be able to keep pace with Ida, moving at max speed. Right? That makes sense. Asta has literally never shown any reaction to people on the Wizard King's level. The only time he did was when he was fighting alongside Yuno against the reincarnated elf. That's it. That is when he showed that ability. And that was, there also, like, anime power-up, like when Yuno got his... But you guys get what I mean. So, Asta has never once scaled one-on-one against someone of a Wizard King level, unless you want to count his demon merged form. Okay. But what scaling does that demon cutting feat even have? That has mountain level feat at best, because it's the size of a mountain. You can maybe argue that, oh, so then if there's no good feats, then Asta should have lost, right? And you're mad that...
Frank, you should probably take some vitamins.
You're mad that Asta won. No. Just use the fucking salamander feat then, and put it in the actual goddamn analysis instead of a top card. Like, if I put a subtitle titled, JK, this entire video is a joke, get trolled. No, I probably wouldn't. If I had my friend edit this video and my friend put in the bottom that this is all a joke and Midoriya is garbage, post. and put that down in the bottom corner. That doesn't mean crap, because guess what? It's a I don't want to call it a TV show, but it kind of is. Death Battle is pretty much a YouTube TV show at this point. And you know what? So it's got to be held to the... It's a visual media of entertainment, not a fucking book. Yes, you can put stats in the corner, but highlight those stats. But you didn't. Instead, you gave Asta a stupid feat for no reason. You gave him a feat that doesn't belong to him and needs backwards scaling in order to work. Unless you're trying to compensate for the fact that you think Asta will be stronger than Midoriya at the end of the series. Oh wait, I forgot. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make a lick of sense. Because he got one shot by the Wizard King. The current Wizard King. Who was part of your scaling. So why would you use that train of thought? Oh, Goku could one-shot Raditz when he was in the Saiyan Saga. So that means Raditz is Prince Vegeta level. Like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. You can clearly see him very mad, even though Asta should have probably won with that ocean lifting feat. Like, my guy, that is insane. Take the W, but actually take the W. Don't take it, but then give it to the other guy. Take it and earn it. You know? Like how Asta's supposed to earn the title of Wizard King? Anyway, that was a lot of ranting. That was a lot. I see. If I look at the time right now. Ooh boy. Ooh, that's a lot of ranting. That's not okay. Anyway, time for the funny. And what do I mean by that? Season finale. Is Vegito versus Gogeta. What the hell? This was on no one's radar. I have not heard anyone predict this whatsoever. And I'm still wondering what is going on. Don't get me wrong. I'm actually pretty excited for this. I am. I kind of want to see this just because, well, it looks pretty good, my guy. I'm not going to lie. Looks pretty spicy. But, yeah, like, holy jeebers. Vegito versus Gogeta. That's gonna be interesting, to say the least. Now, it is internal scaling, unless they do Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta versus Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, which is gonna be... I really hope they go with that, because that's gonna be cool as hell. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for it. Granted, Dragon Ball is kind of getting oversaturated. I feel like there could have been other matches that I would have personally loved to see. Granted, I don't think we're ever going to get Simone the Digger versus Kyle Rayner. Well, it will happen, mostly because if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure Rooster Teeth's address has been leaked. And if there's one thing I've learned after all these years of being on the internet, is it's not you get what you get and you don't get upset. It's you get what you get and you get what you want. Or someplace burns. For example, if you complain enough about Evangelion, they'll change the ending again. They'll reboot it again. Hideaki Anno will reboot it again. Mark my words. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm a little tilted right now. I just finished making a different video which required a lot of editing and a lot of time. But it did give me better reactions for you fine folks. Speaking of a positive reaction from something negative, how about after watching this horrible video, you guys subscribe to my channel? Because think about it. the more people that subscribe, the better I'll get at YouTube. See? It's all about your mindset. So, if you hit that big red button, I'll become a better YouTuber, and then you'll get better content. Sounds like quite a deal. Alright then, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.